I greet you again, visitor, and welcome you to my YouTube channel. The only request I have of you is to watch 50 seconds, 1 minute of this video clip, and according to the title you will definitely appreciate this posted clip. In the clip presented today I will talk/explain about astronomers want to change the definition of planets again. Astronomers want to change the definition of planets. This comes nearly 2 decades after an earlier shift saw Pluto retrograde. The new definition would include measurable criteria, including considerations of planet mass, and would maintain Pluto's dwarf planet status. Currently, the International Astronomical Union (IAU) defines a planet as a celestial body that has 3 characteristics: it orbits the Sun, it is large enough for gravity to mold it into a round shape, and it has cleared the path of smaller objects from around its orbit, excluding moons and other satellites. The problem in the past was that we had the word planet, but we didn't have a quantitative definition of it, said Brett Gladman, an astronomer at the University of British Columbia, Canada, who, along with his colleagues, proposed changing the definition of planets. The proposal was presented in a paper published on the AR14 preprint server and is due to be presented at the IAU General Assembly in August. Why is the definition of planets we currently use wrong? Without a quantitative benchmark, the currently used definition of planets runs into many problems, Gladman said. For example, the criteria are vague. It is not clear how large these bodies must be or how clear their orbits must be to be considered planets. For example, Earth and Jupiter have asteroids crossing their orbits regularly, raising the question of whether these planets really have clear orbital paths. The current definition also does not take into account objects orbiting stars other than the Sun, such as the more than 5,500 exoplanets detected beyond our solar system. But by far the most problematic is the roundness criterion, said Jean-Luc Margot, an astronomer at UCLA, USA, and lead author of the paper. The roundness is just not noticeable. We don't have the necessary technology and we won't have it anytime soon. Instead of focusing on the roundness of the planets and their orbital paths, the new definition emphasizes a measurable quantity, the mass of the object. The new definition describes a planet as a celestial object that meets certain criteria. The new classification criteria. To ensure that their classification framework would be logical and unbiased, the scientists used a method called unsupervised clustering, an algorithm that groups similar objects together. This technique successfully grouped the 8 planets of the solar system. No matter how many criticisms you can make of the current IAU definition, you can at least be satisfied that the result, the 8 planets, is a reasonable classification, Gladman said. Astronomers have argued that the ability to clear orbital paths, known as dynamical dominance, may be determined by the planet's mass. For example, the mass of each of the 8 planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, is at least 3 orders of magnitude greater than that of the non-dynamically dominant dwarf planets. Dominatia dynamica stabilis, de asimenia, o limita inferiora de massa pentru C.S.C.R.I.B.E califica drept planeta. As you can see from Pluto, the weight is 1.31 by 1022 kilograms, but the califica of the planet is not in conformity with the definition, note Live Science. In this case the rotary power is allowed, with a maximum of 1021 kilograms, which is a strong force that attracts gravitational forces. In this case, there is no definition doesn't really contradict the current definition, it just adds specificity to it, Margot said. When might the definition of planets change? People are very attached to language, names and classification, because that's how we think about the world. This is how we sort through the complexity of the world. Before you see the number of things you will be in a class. And scientists before to do that. Before you can see the face precisely, and said Gladman. There is always the possibility of an adverse reaction. Margot will present the proposal to the IAU General Assembly in August, but now expects a consensus then. Instead, they hope that through the presentation, the team will identify people interested in the idea and continue the discussion. The proposal was written from the conviction that we can do better as a community. We owe it to ourselves and to the public to come up with better definitions for these important astrophysical terms, said Margot.